Alright, today I'm going to talk about the different characteristics of different guitar fretboards and fretboard materials. This is not a review of these guitars or the fretboard materials, this is just giving some information. And I am not sponsored by any of the brands shown in this video. One more thing, I'm not some guitar virtuoso, I'm not in some amazing touring band, I'm just some guy on the internet who clearly likes guitars. I'm doing the casual online music thing and making YouTube videos, so let's jump right in. First, we're going to talk about Rosewood. Alright, so Rosewood fretboards. The wood is commonly brown, dark brown, and fun fact, it was banned for a few years. If you believe in tone wood, you could consider rosewood to have a more warm tone than other fretboard materials. Of course, all these guitars have different pickups that sound more trebly and warmer and stuff like that. But rosewood is less dense than some of the other options I'm going to show. Rosewood is also one of the fretboard materials that you have to condition regularly so that it doesn't dry up and crack. Rosewood offers I'd say it's a satisfying resistance to your playing. It's not by any means sticky or rough, but it's not going to be as smooth as, say, Ebony. So over time as you're playing, you are going to feel the resistance under your fingers. And some people like that. When I was first starting playing guitar, my first guitar had rosewood on it. But rosewood isn't just for cheaper guitars, it's on more expensive guitars too. Next, let's talk about maple fretboards. So maple is another wood you've seen a lot. For example, on Ibanez RGs, such as this one, a lot of those 80 shredders have the material. And it's also super common on the Fender Stratocaster and other Fender or Fender-like guitars. So maple's gonna have a brighter tone than rosewood, again, if you believe in the whole tone wood stuff. And maple is gonna be covered in a certain finish, sometimes a lacquer, sometimes some other kind of finish. So it's going to be pretty protected, but you do feel it. So it's a different kind of resistance than what you're going to be feeling on a rosewood fretboard. Maple is also a common neck material, and you can also roast it too, or various other processes to get the moisture out of it. That's what they're doing, they're getting the moisture out. And this makes the material more resistant to temperature changes or humidity changes, things like that. Very useful if you're going to be going from like a warm backstage onto a cold stage. If you're going from place to place, maybe the recording studio is a different temperature than your band practice place. So having the fretboard be roasted maple would help with that. Of course, the neck too. Alright, so now there's ebony. Now ebony wood, it's more dense than, say, rosewood. It also has a very dark color. It can be more brown and have some brown streaks in it, but a lot of manufacturers will dye the ebony to be completely black, because that's usually what people are looking for. It has a very smooth feel to it. It has the least resistance of all the fretboard materials I'm talking about here. So if you're trying to play, I guess, a lot of notes or trying to do a lot of slides, things like that, it's going to resist your fingers the least. Also, the tone wood thing, it would have what would be considered a brighter tone. And of course, just like rosewood, you do have to condition it so it doesn't dry out and crack. Especially with ebony, you don't want those grains becoming large cracks. Let's talk about Richlite now. It's a synthetic material, so it's uniformly dark black. And because it's a synthesized material, it reacts the least. It won't react to temperature, humidity changes. So this will be the most stable fretboard material you can probably get, as far as I know. Of course, because it's synthesized, it doesn't feel like wood under the fingers at all. It offers some resistance, a little bit of friction, but it doesn't feel like rosewood or any kind of wood at all. It feels more artificial. It's hard to explain, but as soon as you feel it, you instantly know something's different. It's not sticky by any means, but it does feel more artificial. So people who dislike Richlite, often they cite that as their reason. It's not my favorite feeling material to use, but I really like the peace of mind it offers. If I'm doing a lot of recording, for example, I appreciate how it doesn't react to various temperature changes during the day. Sun comes out, shines through the window, humidity changes from day to day. I know I can count on it, and so even if it's not my favorite feeling material, whenever I do use this guitar in particular, I feel just a sense of relief. Like, okay, I'm not going to have to worry about resetting up the neck or anything like that, because the fretboard is so tough. You could basically min-max your guitar and combine it with features like the Evertune, so you end up with just a super bulletproof setup guitar. Of course, there's other materials out there. There's the Pale Moon Ebony with the streaks, there's Wenge, there's ferro, and I don't have any guitars with those, so I can't show you that, and I can't speak too much about them. But in general, ferro is going to be kind of like Rosewood, but it's more dense. It's going to be a bit more bright sounding. The Wenge, it's going to be smoother than Rosewood, because I did have a guitar with a Wenge board before. It's smoother than Rosewood, but it provides more resistance like Ebony, so it's kind of in between the two, I'd say, from my experience. Alright, so what are my personal thoughts and experiences with these? Which one do I like? Well, I don't have just one answer. For example, when I was starting off playing guitar, of course, I was a teenager, I wanted just the blackest, darkest fretboard, the most metal. And so I had the Rosewood, but I had the dream one day, okay, I'm gonna have that Ebony fretboard and it's gonna be so cool. So I thought the Ebony was the best. And then one day when I finally got the Ebony, I really enjoyed just the smoothness, the less friction, I guess, than the Rosewood. As I was practicing guitar and trying to get better, it was really nice how it wasn't offering as much resistance, especially over time as you're practicing the same thing over and over and over again. Not saying you can't practice guitar on different fretboard materials, I'm not saying that at all. It's just something I noticed when I finally got that Ebony fretboard, especially combined with the stainless steel frets as I was recording music and trying to get good takes. Because I'm not the best guitarist in the world, I could really appreciate how there was just a super smooth playing experience. As time went on, though, I'd overhear guys talking about how maybe they didn't like ebony or stainless steel frets that much because it would be too slippery and they would want something less so. They would want something with more resistance, something they could really feel while they were playing. So I've gotten guitars with various combinations of features since then. I've had the ebony with the nickel silver frets, I have rosewood with the stainless steel, maple, etc. I find that with rosewood, it's kind of like that old friend, maybe because I started playing on a guitar with rosewood, but just because it was so prevalent. It feels familiar, it almost feels like home a little bit. And as I've been playing more, I really appreciate the feedback, the texture it has to it. The maple fretboard, it's more middle of the road, it's got that snappy tone, it's got that certain look. When I do look at it, it's bright, and it evokes a different feeling in me, a different kind of inspiration, although maybe that's just me. It's got that kind of classic look. And then ebony is very classy, very dark. It's got that ultimate smooth feel. I often reach for it when I need to get something done, and I really need to focus when I'm going to be doing a lot of repetitions of things. And then the Richlite, as I've mentioned before, I just grab it when I need something really stable, when I can't afford to spend any time messing with any setups or anything, which is actually quite often. Since I'm not doing music professionally, I have a day job that I do enjoy. I don't have time to just sit around and mess with the guitars and tune stuff a lot, things like that. So having just a super solid, stable material gives some real good peace of mind. So my preferences over time have evolved. I've been really enjoying the different feels of the fretboards. At first I would want the ebony fretboard, like I mentioned, but I've really started to appreciate other materials like rosewood some more. And I'm even finding that different materials, different feels will inspire me to play different things. Like with ebony, maybe I could play things more technical, and with rosewood, I'll slow down a little bit. Maybe layer some more stuff, not because of the tone, but because of the feel. Or maple I'll pick up if I just want to have a good time. Maybe because it is so brightly colored. Sometimes I'll feel more creative when I'm picking up like a maple board. But again, maybe that's just me. So which one would I pick? Well, it's impossible for me to pick just one, as you can see. If I wanted some more feel to my playing, I'd pick the rosewood. If I wanted a classic look and a middle of the road feel, I'd probably go for maple. If I needed something absolutely smooth and with the least amount of resistance, of course I'd pick ebony. And if I needed something 100% rock solid no matter what, I'd go for that Richlite. So there you have it. Did I answer your questions? Do you have any other thoughts or comments? Leave them down in the comments below. This is YouTube. I have to say the YouTube things. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video, print out every frame and mail it. And as always, peace.